Sister refuses to meet my new BF and was acting weird about it. Then I found out she was obsessed and madly in love with him in high school and even tried to break up his relationship. Okay, so here's the situation. I, F23, have been dating my current BF, M28, for about 4 months and I am completely effing smitten. He is literally the sweetest, smartest, kindest, most caring guy I've ever met and I honestly feel so lucky to have found him. I know it hasn't been that long but I've dated enough a-holes to know when something is different. Like my last ex would constantly forget to text me back and then get mad when I'd ask where he was. Meanwhile my current BF actually communicates like an adult and remembers the little things I tell him. We met at the start of this semester at our university. He's a graduate student and was running this tutoring group I joined. I was really struggling with this one class that has a reputation for failing students and my advisor suggested the tutoring program. I almost didn't go because I hate asking for help, but I was desperate at that point and my GPA couldn't take the hit. The first session was kind of awkward with a bunch of students who didn't want to be there, but he made it actually bearable. We hit it off immediately during the group sessions and found that we had a ton in common, including the same hometown, which was pretty cool considering our university is like 3 hours away from there. He likes the same weird indie bands I do and has the same dorky sense of humor. After talking more during a break, we realized we even went to the same high school, although we never actually met before. He graduated the year before I started my freshman year, but he was in the same grade as my older sister. I thought that was kind of a fun coincidence and asked if he knew her. He said yeah, they ran in the same circles but they hadn't kept in touch since graduation, which made sense because people drift apart. I didn't think much of it at the time. Anyway, after a couple weeks of tutoring, he asked me out for coffee and we just clicked. The coffee date turned into dinner because we couldn't stop talking. I ended up getting an A in the class I was struggling with, partly because he's a really good tutor but also because I wanted to impress him. Pathetic, I know. We spent the last 4 months growing super close. He's introduced me to his roommates and a couple of his close friends from the grad program. I've introduced him to my roommate and we've done a few double dates with her and her boyfriend. Lately we've been talking about maybe bringing each other to our family holiday celebrations. We didn't get to do Thanksgiving together because he went home to see his parents and I went home to see mine. They live in different parts of the same state now, but we decided that for Christmas we'd try to spend at least part of it together and I was really excited about it. My family does this whole big thing on Christmas Eve with an elaborate dinner and then we open one present each, and then Christmas Day is more casual with a big brunch and the rest of the presents. I was thinking he could come for Christmas Eve dinner and then maybe part of Christmas Day. I hadn't actually told my parents or sister I was seeing anyone serious yet because I wanted to make sure it was going somewhere first. My last relationship was a disaster and everyone got attached and then we broke up. It was a whole thing. My mom still asks about him sometimes, which is annoying. So I decided to call and let them know about BF and also to make sure it wasn't an issue if he came to our Christmas celebration this year. My mom was super excited for me when I told her all about BF and how we met and everything. She kept asking a million questions about him and seemed genuinely happy, which was nice. She wanted to know what he was studying, if he was a good student. He has a 4.0, so yeah, what his family is like, normal, 2 parents still together, 1 younger brother, and if he treats me well, better than anyone I've dated before. My dad was more chill about it, but said he sounded like a nice young man and he would be glad to meet him. Both my parents said it was totally fine if he came for Christmas dinner. I then called my sister to tell her the news. She's 3 years older than me and we've always had a decent relationship. We fought a lot as kids but got closer in high school and now we get along really well for the most part. She's always been pretty cool about my boyfriends in the past and I even joked that it would be like a high school reunion for her since they kinda knew each other back then. She was initially excited when I mentioned a new boyfriend, but when I told her who it was her mood changed dramatically. She told me she would not be comfortable having a stranger at our family's Christmas and that she was sorry but he couldn't come. I was honestly shocked and asked her to explain because she is normally very outgoing and never had a problem with strangers before. This isn't the first BF one of us has brought home for the holidays. She's bringing her boyfriend of like 7 months this year. I asked if she had not liked him in high school or something and that's why she didn't want him to come. She said no and she barely even remembered him, which made her reaction even more confusing. I suggested maybe she would feel better meeting him before Christmas so it's not overwhelming on the actual holiday. She got really firm and told me that she didn't want to meet him before, during, or after Christmas and to drop it. Then she literally hung up on me. She texted me a little later that it was rude of me to keep trying to force her to meet someone she doesn't want to and she hopes I won't bring it up again. This makes absolutely no sense to me as my sister is not usually like this at all. We've always gotten along pretty well and she's never acted this way about any of my boyfriends before. She was totally fine with my last boyfriend and even the one before that who was kind of a jerk sometimes. I tried calling her back but she didn't answer. I sent her a text saying I was sorry for pushing but I didn't understand what was going on and I just wanted to talk about it. She read it but never responded. Then nothing happened for like 3 days and I was just sitting there wondering what the hell was going on. I asked my mom about it but she is just as confused as I am and said she would talk to her for me. Mom tried calling her a couple times but my sister kept saying she was busy and would call back later. I've tried texting my sister a couple times since then just asking what's going on but she either ignores me or gives really short answers that don't explain anything. Like literally just I don't want to talk about it or please drop it. I obviously won't bring my BF if it makes my sister uncomfortable. I'm not trying to ruin Christmas for everyone or anything. I just wish she would give me an actual reason. Especially since she basically said she never wants to meet him, not just at Christmas. Like, what the fuck? I'm just so confused. Is she hiding something? Did they have some kind of history she's not telling me about? She says she barely remembers him but then acts like she hates him. The worst part is I had to tell my boyfriend that my sister doesn't want him at Christmas, and I couldn't even explain why. He was really understanding about it, but I could tell he was confused and probably a little hurt. He asked if maybe they had some bad interaction in high school he forgot about, but he said they were always friendly when they did interact. He actually seemed worried that he had done something wrong without realizing it. He offered to spend Christmas Eve with his family and then maybe we could meet up on Christmas Day or the day after, which was sweet. But that's not really the point. The point is my sister is acting weird and I don't know why and it's putting a strain on my relationship. What if she never wants to be around him? Am I just supposed to keep them separate forever? I really like this guy and I think it could be serious, but my sister is important to me too and this whole situation is just so weird. I don't know what to do. My mom suggested maybe my sister will tell her something she won't tell me, but she hasn't had a chance to talk to her in person yet. My mom thinks maybe something happened in high school that my sister doesn't want to tell me about. This is kind of fucking up my holiday plans and making everyone uncomfortable. My boyfriend keeps asking if he did something wrong and I have to keep telling him no, but I don't actually know that for sure because my sister won't talk to me. I don't know if I should keep pushing or just accept it. Am I the asshole for pushing this issue with my sister? Edit. Thanks for all the comments. A lot of people are suggesting she had a crush on him or maybe they hooked up. I'm not sure if that's it but it does make a kind of sense. I talked to my boyfriend last night and he also seemed really confused about the whole thing. I asked him to please be honest with me and to let me know if anything went on between them beyond just running in the same circles. He told me nothing happened and they had only ever hung out in groups. He said she was really more a friend of a friend and he had a long-term GF he was committed to throughout high school so he didn't even hook up with her or anything like that. His GF at the time was someone from their friend group who he started dating freshman year and they broke up right before graduation. He said my sister was always on the periphery of their friend group but they were never close. She also never bullied him and, from his perspective, he never bullied her. He said they were always friendly/civil and never so much as got in an argument. He seemed pretty genuine when he said he has no idea what her issue with him is. He even scrolled through his yearbook photos to see if that would jog his memory about any interactions with her, but nothing stood out. There's obviously more to this story from my sister's side so I have to try to speak to her again. Probably in a few days when I go home for the holidays. I'll update if I find out anything more. TBH, I'm kind of dreading going home now because this is hanging over everything. Update 1. I had quite a few PMs asking me to update here if anything happened, so here I am. First of all, thanks for all the comments and theories. Some of you are actually right on the money, as it turns out. I will preface that the situation isn't totally resolved but people have been asking for more information so I wanted to let you all know what I now know. And no, for those asking, they didn't hook up at a party or anything like that. I got home on Wednesday for the holidays, and my sister was acting completely normal when I arrived, like nothing had happened. She helped me bring my bags in from the car, asked about the drive, normal sister stuff. It was frustrating because I wanted to talk about the elephant in the room but she was pretending everything was fine. We went to dinner that evening, just the two of us. Mom suggested this, thinking we needed sister time. She picked this Mexican place we used to go to in high school and everything was going fine. We talked about her job, my classes, stupid stuff our parents had done lately. But then I noticed she wasn't really asking about my life at school or my friends or anything that might lead to mentioning my boyfriend. She was clearly avoiding the topic. Finally, I just brought it up directly, and she immediately got upset with me. Her whole demeanor changed and she told me to just leave it alone. I told her that I have very strong feelings for this man, and if she has an issue with him, I would like to know what it is so I can make an informed decision about my relationship. I wouldn't want to be with someone who had hurt my sister or was a bad person. She insisted he never hurt her, he didn't bully her, and she simply didn't want a strange man at her family's Christmas. This just pissed me off because it was such an obvious lie. I pointed out she is bringing her boyfriend of 7 months who I've only met twice, once at a family birthday thing and once when they passed through town and stopped for lunch. He's just as much a strange man to me as my boyfriend is to her. She said it's different because I already met her BF. I told her technically she's already met mine and I offered for them to re-meet before Christmas and she shut me down. I asked her if she was jealous that I was dating someone from her grade and she got really defensive and said that was ridiculous. The conversation really didn't go anywhere productive and we both left mad. She barely spoke to me on the drive home and went straight to her room when we got back to our parents' house. I was lying in my old bedroom staring at the ceiling later that night, trying to figure out what to do, when I remembered my sister's childhood best friend still lived in town. They had been inseparable from like elementary school through high school. I still follow her on Instagram and we occasionally like each other's posts but haven't really talked in years. I figured if anyone would know what happened between my sister and my boyfriend, it would be her. I ended up messaging her to see if she knew anything about my boyfriend. I played it as casual as possible, like, hey, random question, did you know boyfriend's name in high school? I've been dating him for a few months and just found out he went to school with you guys. She confirmed she knew who he was and then asked if my sister knew yet that I was dating him. A red flag went up and I said yes, and she doesn't seem happy about it. She then asked to call me instead of texting. A lot of you in the comments were right. It turns out my sister was obsessed with my BF from 7th grade all the way until they graduated and went to college in different states. I was honestly shocked because my sister never mentioned him when I was in high school. She dated a few guys during that time and seemed to really like them, so I had no idea she was pining for someone else the whole time. I asked if there was more to it than that because I can't believe my grown-ass sister would act this way over a little crush, and her friend told me it wasn't a little crush, she was legit in love with him. She said my sister would talk about him constantly, write his name in her notebooks, plan out their wedding, the whole teenage girl experience. She even went as far as finding out what colleges he was applying to so she could apply to the same ones, though she ended up going somewhere else. Since she said in love, I asked if my boyfriend knew or if anything had happened between them, and she said as far as she knew he didn't know about her feelings and they for sure had never hooked up, to my sister's extreme displeasure apparently. My sister had apparently tried multiple times to get his attention, but he was either oblivious or not interested. According to her friend, she pined for him for years and was devastated when he started dating one of their other friends freshman year. It was this girl who sat next to him in biology and they got paired up for a project, and my sister was crushed because she had been trying to get into the same classes as him but couldn't. She would show up to his work with other guys to try to make him jealous. He worked at the movie theater in the mall, only go to parties if she knew he was going, hooked up with his best friend to try and make him jealous, and once even tried to break up him and his girlfriend by spreading rumors that she had cheated on him at a party. The girlfriend confronted my sister about it and there was apparently a whole dramatic scene in the cafeteria. When my BF and his then GF did eventually break up senior year, my sister thought it was her big moment, but he never even gave her a second glance. Her friend said my sister cried for days and it was part of the reason she decided to go to a different college than the one he was attending, which she had gotten into as a backup. She said she needed a fresh start. What's even crazier is that apparently she's held a small torch for him all these years still. Her friend says she thinks she would still want to be with him if he would have her, and she's probably just jealous that he's interested in me when he never was interested in her. She mentioned that my sister brought him up a few times over the years when they'd get together for drinks, wondering what happened to him. I am sort of relieved that it's not something horrible like I was imagining based on some of your comments. Some of the comments on my original post had me extra scared for what I was gonna find, like that he'd bullied her or they'd had a secret relationship or something truly messed up. But now I'm also pissed off. She's really going to ice my boyfriend out of our family events over a high school crush that she never even told him about? This is so ridiculous. I do feel for her. It sucks when you really like someone and they don't like you back, but I'm upset she wouldn't just tell me and made it into a bigger deal than it needs to be. We're adults now, not teenagers, and this shouldn't be such a dramatic thing. It was years ago. My sister's friend made me promise not to tell my sister that she told me all this, but I don't see how I can address the issue without letting her know that I know. I'm going to try to talk to her one more time and let her know I know about her crush, and hopefully we can deal with this like adults. Thank you everyone for all of your comments and support. Some of you were mean, but most of you were really helpful. I'll update again if anything changes. I'm still not sure if I should tell my boyfriend all this or if it would just make things more awkward. Update 2. Sorry I took so long to update. With the holidays I totally forgot about Reddit. When I finally logged in this morning, I saw tons of messages and notifications asking for an update. I guess a lot of people were invested in my ridiculous family drama. I'm surprised so many people cared about this. So here's what happened. My mom did end up bringing up the matter of my sister's crush when they went gift shopping a week before Christmas. I wasn't there, but my mom told me about it after. Apparently they were in the mall food court having lunch between stores when my mom casually mentioned that she was excited to meet my boyfriend at Christmas. My sister got tense and my mom asked her directly what her problem was with him. My sister seemed ashamed and embarrassed when she realized we all knew about it. My mom didn't outright say I knew about the crush, but I guess my sister could tell from how my mom was talking that someone had spilled the beans. My sister tried to play it off and said it wasn't that big of a deal and tried to claim that wasn't why she didn't want my boyfriend to come. She tried to say again that she just didn't want a stranger at Christmas, but my mom called her out on it. My mom wasn't having it and pushed her to give a real reason or she would be inviting my boyfriend to all future family functions I attended, and she didn't want to hear another word about it. My mom can be pretty fierce when she wants to be, and I guess my sister realized she wasn't going to win this one. She said my sister got upset but finally did admit she just felt weird that the guy she liked so much never noticed her but noticed her little sister, and she just felt icky about the whole situation. It wasn't even about still having feelings for him, she insisted, but about the embarrassment of facing someone who she had made a fool of herself over as a teenager. She told my mom she didn't want to be around him as it would make her feel like that desperate insecure teenager all over again, and she was super embarrassed by her teenage self. She was mortified at the thought of him somehow finding out how obsessed she had been with him and thought it would be incredibly awkward for everyone. My mom told her that was valid, but she doesn't get to dictate who I date and bring around based on a high school crush from years ago. She suggested my sister speak to me and try to come to an understanding. My mom called to tell me this after she got home, and I kind of expected sister to call me that evening, but she didn't. I was going to wait to speak with my BF until after I had this conversation with my sister, but I ended up hanging out with him that night and just told him everything I had learned. I was nervous about it, but I felt like he deserved to know why my sister was being so weird about him coming to Christmas. I tried to be sensitive about it and not make my sister sound crazy, but I did tell him the broad strokes about her having had a big crush on him in high school and feeling awkward about seeing him now. He was surprised at first and then got this look of realization, like some things suddenly made sense to him. He said there had been a couple times in high school where he thought she was acting a little strange around him, but he never connected the dots. He actually apologized for anything he had done to play a part in the situation, and I told him he had nothing to be sorry for from my understanding of the situation. He didn't even know she liked him. I said I would understand if he no longer wanted to be with me if he was now uncomfortable with all this drama. He told me I was absolutely batshit crazy for thinking he would leave me over something like this. He said he really likes me and my family drama is nothing compared to some of the stuff his family pulls. I showed him both Reddit posts and we laughed over some of the crazy far-fetched comments. Some of you are wild, and he reminded me to take Reddit opinions with a grain of salt next time I seek internet counsel. Then nothing much happened for a couple days. I saw my sister around the house, but we were both kind of avoiding the topic. My parents were acting normal, but I could tell my mom was waiting for us to work it out. It was this weird tension where everyone knew what was going on but no one was talking about it. My sister did end up calling me the next day and asked to come over to talk. When she got to my parents' house, she looked really sheepish and immediately apologized for acting crazy and shutting down me bringing my boyfriend without talking to me about it first. She said she had been caught off guard when I told her who I was dating and she reacted badly. I thanked her for apologizing and asked her to explain her reasoning in her own words. She was reluctant at first but finally opened up. She basically told me the same thing she told my mom about being embarrassed and uncomfortable. She said she had been so obsessed with him in high school and had done some embarrassing things to try to get his attention that she was mortified at the thought of seeing him again. She said she had eventually gotten over it and moved on in college, but hearing his name again brought back all those feelings of embarrassment. She was worried he might have known about her crush and would think she had something to do with us meeting, or that I was some weird way for her to get close to him by proxy. I asked if she still had feelings for my boyfriend, and she actually laughed and said no, that ship has long sailed and she really truly is happy in her current relationship. Her BF also knows everything about this situation as she confided in him. She just doesn't want to face my BF knowing how intense her feelings were, and she feels there is no way he couldn't have noticed. She said her current boyfriend actually encouraged her to talk to me and work it out because it was silly to let a high school crush ruin our holiday. I assured her my boyfriend said he has no bad memories of her and is interested in getting to know her as my sister with a clean slate. I told her he had no idea she had feelings for him back then and he's not the type to be weird about it now. I also promised her I would never tell him about any of the specific embarrassing things she did, and I haven't. My sister said she would try to move past her discomfort and was looking forward to seeing us both at Christmas, which was a huge relief. I asked if she wanted to maybe meet him for coffee before the big family gathering so it wouldn't be so awkward, but she said she'd rather just rip the band-aid off and get it over with. So with that, my BF did end up coming to Christmas and it was great. My sister gave him a bit of an awkward greeting and they didn't interact a ton, but we all played games together and my parents loved him. My dad particularly got along with him and they spent like an hour talking about some boring history documentary they had both watched. My BF was super nice to my sister and acted completely normal. Not weird at all. He said later he didn't feel uncomfortable in the slightest. My sister relaxed as the evening went on, and by dessert they were even having a normal conversation about a TV show they both watch. It was honestly so lovely, and I feel like the awkwardness my sister is feeling will fade with time. She texted me after she and her BF left that we made a great couple and she was again sorry for almost ruining my Christmas. She said seeing us together made her realize how ridiculous she had been and that it was obvious we were good for each other. I told her I forgive her and love her always. We're planning to have dinner next week, just the four of us, me, my BF, my sister, and her BF, to try to make things more normal. Thank you all again for all of your comments, advice, suggestions, and support. I really do love Reddit sometimes. And for those asking, yes, my BF and I are still going strong. We're actually talking about moving in together when our current leases are up in a few months, but don't tell my family yet. One dramatic conversation at a time is enough.